Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go. I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hey everyone. My name is Sarah McCarthy and I'm so excited that you are joining me as we break down the following standard. All right, today's standard is MA.4.FR.2.3 and it says to explore the addition of a fraction with a denominator of 10 to a fraction with the denominator of 100 using equivalent fractions. Okay, explore, what does that mean? That means we're at the very beginning stages. Lots of models, really taking time to understand what mathematically is happening here. And we're focusing on adding, so notice there's no subtracting here. Explore the addition of a fraction where we have a denominator of 10, it could be any numerator really, with a fraction where the denominator is 100 using equivalent fractions, so equal fractions. For example, if we had 9 hundredths plus 3 tenths, notice that we have a denominator of 100 plus a denominator of 10. We could say that this is equivalent or equal to 9 hundredths plus 30 hundredths because 3 tenths is equivalent to 30 hundredths, which is then equal or equivalent to 39 hundredths when we add that all together. By the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is not something that I created. This is something that the Florida Department of Education releases to the public, and in these Breaking Down the B.E.S.T episodes, I'm just showing you how I walk through, process, analyze, break down the standard in order to create the resources that are available to you with your taking on the B.E.S.T membership. So we'll spend about half of the video breaking down FR.2.3, and then we'll spend the other half popping over to the website and seeing what you have access to for this standard, okay? All right, let's carry on. Benchmark clarification says that we need to include lots of visual models, which is important here, especially at the exploration level. Within this benchmark, the expectation is not to simplify or use lowest terms, and I always say this, it's not expected, but I like to bring it to light when it makes sense. If we have 5 tenths, to me, it makes sense to say, oh, by the way, that's also equal to 1/2. Did you notice that half of the model is shaded in? Just bringing it to light, shedding some light on it, it's all good. What are some of the related benchmarks that provide some horizontal alignment to this standard? Well, we have 4.NSO.2.7, which is adding and subtracting with decimals and understanding that decimals and fractions that they are connected. We also have 4.FR.1.1, which is where we were converting from tenths into hundredths. I put a little star here because this one is the one, like the prerequisite into the standard that we're talking about today. 1.2 talks about going from fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions, really working on those fractions to the power of 10, where we have tenths and hundredths that we can then show how we can go from tenths as a fraction into tenths as a decimal. And 1.3 is equivalent fraction. So really combining those three together sort of are what we're doing today. I also put that MA.4.FR.2.2, the one right before this one, adding and subtracting with like denominators. Even though we have unlike denominators here, we're still going to get them. We're still going to convert them into fractions that are of like denominators and then add them. So I feel like that one was a good one to include too. Where are they coming from? In 3rd grade, we had the sum of unit fractions with FR.1.2. And then in 5th grade, we have adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. This one right here is definitely going to help us with that 5th grade standard later on. So we need to make sure that we hit it hard. Okay, purpose and instructional strategies. Let's see what jumped out. This is the purpose of this benchmark is to connect a fraction addition to decimal addition through decimal fractions, those fractions with powers of 10. This will be the first opportunity to create common denominators to add fractions. So common denominators. Again, a fraction is made up of a numerator on top and a denominator on the bottom. And then with decimals, knowing that they can, when we have tenths, this is the tenths place and this is the hundredths place. For this standard, we're not assessing their knowledge of decimal addition, but this standard could easily be paired with another standard where we are converting from tenths into hundredths and vice versa. Here it says students who can generate equivalent fractions can adapt this new procedure to develop strategies for adding fractions with unlike denominators in 5th grade. And I just said yes, this one is huge. Seeing what happens with those denominators is going to help students in 5th grade. We will definitely be using these decimal grids right here, 10 by 10 grids. And I just made a note here that using different colors is helpful. So like for 34 hundredths, they made it in blue, and then 4 tenths right there, and then adding them together down here so you can see the two combined. Common misconceptions or errors. So students will often add the numerators and the denominators without finding the like denominator, meaning that if they have 3 tenths plus 4 hundredths, they might say that the answer is adding the numerators to get 7 and adding the denominators to get 110, which is not correct. This is a common misconception that they have, and I believe one that takes place in the Math Misconception Mystery episode that I'll point you in the direction of in just a little bit. Now we can see some items to see what the standard looks like in action. So we've got determining the equivalent fraction there. And I just added the purple. I'll erase what was there. And then also down here, we've got tenths, we've got hundredths, and we're finding the value or the sum of these two by converting 3 tenths into 30 hundredths. All right, I think that's it for going over the standard. Now let's go ahead and see what you have access to with your Taking on the B.E.S.T membership. So here we are on the website. The website is mccarthymathacademy.com. We're going to click Member Center here. Select Taking on the B.E.S.T, 4th grade. And we are on the FR strand. So we'll click that and scroll down to add fractions with denominators of 10 and 100, 4.FR.2.3. Click that one. But if we do go back, you can see that this one right here, 4.FR.1.1, is one that definitely ties into the standard, and also 4.FR.1.2 does as well, and 2.2. So a lot of a lot of related benchmarks here. The first page that you will open up to is your bronze resources. This is where you'll have your video lesson or lessons and your printable student guides. This is where your students can take notes. So they'll watch the video lesson. Let me just open it up to see part of a lesson. One whole, so we didn't even need to use that other whole yet. Oh, and then let's go ahead and put our answer right up here. This equals 91 hundredths. So you can see with these lessons, they have the same problem. The problem that is being shown in the video is identical to what they're seeing in their notes. And they can just take notes as they go along as everything is being explained and rolled out. The purpose of this video lesson is to make math fun and to make it click for students to walk away and go, okay, I understand what's going on, but then it's time to step into the silver plan with your extra practice. Okay, your silver plan, if you click here, and go to your printables. All right, so the silver plan includes the video lessons that are available on the bronze page, and it also has extra practice with a few other resources too. So here's the video lesson. This is the same thing that you'd find on your bronze page. Students can take down their notes. It says to create a visual model to find the sum of the two fractions. So this is part of that exploration part. We're shading in, what does 4 tenths look like? What does 51 tenths look like? And then let's add them together to see. Then they have extra practice here. 2 pages of extra practice because it's just one video lesson. And then there is a math mission right here for this standard. It says that Eduardo walks 7/10 mile on Monday 2 days later, he walks 22 hundredths of a mile. How far did our Eduardo walk altogether? Use the 10 by 10 grids below to create a visual model and then explain your thinking in words. Part 2, the following week, Eduardo walks 49 hundredths of a mile on Tuesday and 8 tenths of a mile on Wednesday. Now combine all 4 of his walks to determine the total distance. So you can see this is taking the level of understanding up a notch, handing more responsibility over to the students with these math missions. And the final part of the Silver Plan is the Math Misconception Mystery episode. That's available right here. You just click play, and in the video, I'll walk you through the entire process. The first step will be for students to solve this problem right here on their own. You can see we've got tenths, we've got hundredths, we're adding them together. And then they will press play to watch as 4 characters solve that same problem. Now these 4 characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes, and the thing is, 3 of the characters are going to make a mistake that students commonly make, and only 1 character will provide the correct answer. So your students will have to really pay attention and watch and listen to see what errors are being made, because then they'll have to fill out their detective report, stating who the most reasonable answer belongs to and why, and also helping the other 3 characters. For instance, what did this character do that was correct? What was their error? And what do they need to know for next time? Now the answers to all of that can also be found in the click here for your answer keys. So all of the printables that we just went over, the answer keys are right there. And then for the gold plan, you have access to everything we've already gone over, plus you have a mini assessment, which is about 4 to 5 questions for each standard. This one is 5 questions, and you can see that it's a variety of question types. You can see the tenths and the hundredths and just see that we're doing it over and over and over again. Okay. There we go. There's also an answer key right there. With the gold plan, you also have these episodes, these breaking down the best episodes for you right here with the standard with all of the resources. Now these episodes are also available on YouTube. They just contain ads. So it's a nice little perk of being a gold member. It's right here, ad free. However, the highlight of getting the gold plan is usually because you want access to McCarthy Math 155. This is a daily math intervention, daily video lessons rather, that are aligned to the Common Core standards. Now I know it says Common Core, but if you've been exploring with the B.E.S.T standards, you know there are a lot of skills that do trickle over from Common Core into the B.E.S.T standards. Now I created Taking on the B.E.S.T because we needed something that was strategically aligned to the B.E.S.T standards. However, if you have students who are struggling and just need more time and more practice to boost their math skills, this is the place to go. So click on that. Now the 155 stands for 155 videos for each grade. If we click on 4th grade right here, you can see the different units that are available to you, like place value with rounding and 10 times greater or less, or reading and writing numbers. You have 17 video lessons there. You just have to keep in mind this was based on the Common Core version of things. So if you really know your B.E.S.T standards, you'll be able to figure out what it is that you need in here. Adding and subtracting numbers, 8 video lessons. Division, 11 video lessons with a variety of different strategies there. But I believe we're looking right here for this standard, because we're going from tenths to hundredths, I believe we need to look at relating fractions and decimals. Here it says modeling tenths, so if they need more help with that, modeling hundredths, changing from tenths into hundredths, changing from hundredths into tenths, and so on. Adding fractions with different denominators, 1, 2 video lessons there. So you can see there's so much here available for you with the gold plan. All right, I think that is it. So I hope that this video was helpful for you to understand the standard better and to see what you have access to. Before we go, let me remind you that what you wake up and do every day with your life, it really does matter. Thank you for inspiring your students to take on the best version of themselves. And I know you're busy, so I will see you in an episode real soon, okay? All right, bye! Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now, bye!